All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon. Absolutely great news, and this is not some half-stepping type of news. Bob Arum says that he is going to make the fight between Errol Spence Jr. and Terence Crawford next if Terence Crawford beats Sean Porter. Let's talk about that and why this is very real in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. I am absolutely excited about this because I am about 90% sure, can't say I'm 100% sure, 90% sure that we are going to get a great fight probably in the first part of next year between Errol Spence Jr. and Terence Crawford. All of the stars are aligned. In an interview that Bob Arum just gave, I saw on ES News, but I'm pretty sure I heard Blue Blood Sports TV ask the question, so want to make sure I give him his credit for that. Asked the question to Bob Arum and said, hey, Bob Arum, he said, Errol Spence Jr. says that he is going to be ringside for the Terence Crawford-Sean Porter fight, and and he's going to get in the ring and call out the winner of that fight, whether it be Terence Crawford beating Sean Porter, or whether it would be Sean Porter, which would lead to the fight that we're talking about, or whether it would be Sean Porter winning the fight and it being a rematch of something that could have been fight of the year before last. Or last year. It was a 2020, I think that fight was. Bob Arum's take to that was absolutely, that's what we're going to do. And then he goes in to why he believed that the fight would happen. And this is why I'm telling you, there's going to be a lot of y'all that say, oh, I don't believe this, I don't believe this. I'm going to tell you why I believe this. Because of what Bob Arum said about how the fight needed to be made. And I know you guys, some of you guys don't read smirks on people's faces or, pay attention to people's facial expressions. But Bob Arum got a little slick. And he said, yeah, we're going to do it. And it's got to be a co-promotion. And let me tell you why it's going to be a co-promotion. It's going to be a co-promotion because, Al HAYMON has learned, Al HAYMON has learned, that in the boxing environment that we have, that we don't need to take a lot of, that these fights are big risks. So we want to make sure that we split the risk. So it's better to have two promoters than it is to have one promoter, right? So right there, I was like, Bob Arum is serious about making this fight. Bob Arum is serious about making this fight. Now, do I believe the line that he threw out there about sharing the risk on the fight? No, I don't, because there ain't any risk in that fight. If there is a fight, if there are a few fights in boxing where full well there ain't no risk, you're gonna make it, or there's very little risk, and the only question is how much is the reward going to be? And Errol Spence Jr. and Terence Crawford is exactly that. Now, as we know, Terence Crawford is also in contract negotiations, his contract has run out with Bob Arum. And so they are going back and forth about whether or not they are going to actually make a fight, right? Or whether or not he's going to resign. Bob Arum is saying that he wants to do a one-fight deal or, do a fight-by-fight deal with Terence Crawford. Terence Crawford is saying he doesn't know what he wants to do. It's going to have to, wait until after the fight happens to see what he's going to do. I'm telling you, Bob Arum, because it's a fight-by-fight deal, and you think about the economics of it, right? Fight-by-fight deals is that he'll take this one, he won't take the next one, right? He doesn't have any guaranteed money or any of that stuff that he has sitting on his head where he knows no matter what, he's got to pay Terence Crawford a certain amount of money. That is going to push Bob Arum to only deal with highly profitable fights. Pretty much the only highly profitable fights for Terence Crawford right now are PBC fights. I guess maybe you could make the argument that if he goes over there to fight Josh Taylor over there in the UK, that could be a profitable fight, but nowhere near in the ballpark of an Errol Spence Jr. Terence Crawford fight for the three of those belts. As much conversation has been going on about that. So Bob Arum, just by the nature and the structure of his deal with Terence Crawford, is going to want to make that fight. If Errol Spence Jr. actually gets, and here's the Errol Spence Jr. side of it, which some Errol Spence Jr. fans are not going to like, but I'm telling you that this is if he does what he says he's going to do, this is him actually giving up a certain amount of money. It's going to result in him giving up a certain amount of money and leeway to Terence Crawford. If he jumps in the ring and he says, I want Terence Crawford, and Terence Crawford wins, the chances of Terence Crawford getting what he wants, which is a 50-50 per split, goes up substantially. Because Errol Spence Jr. is in the ring asking and calling him out for the fight. If Errol Spence Jr. calls him out for the fight and then he lowballs him in some type of way and the fight doesn't happen, that's going to run contrary to what Errol Spence Jr. is saying that he wants. Also, I always believe that Errol Spence Jr. is a very, very reasonable person. So, and that he's going to do what he needs to do in order to get those belts. And Terence Crawford has some additional leverage right now in the fact that Yordenis Ugas, the WBA belt, is not going to be ready for, is not going to be able to fight for at least a year. So Errol's either going to have to fight either some guy that might be like a mandatory or something like that and not have another major pay-per-view fight coming up if he can't fight Terence Crawford. So that's why I'm saying if you look at all the way the tea leaves are falling, that this is more than likely going to result in that fight between Errol Spence Jr. and Terence Crawford happening much sooner than later. If Errol Spence Jr., one thing that Bob Arum actually said in this thing that I thought was really, really wild is that he said that he believed that the Terence Crawford fight, and this is the only thing that I didn't really believe about, because I know there's some people I'll say, Bob Arum will lie about this, Bob Arum will lie about that. One thing Bob Arum does not lie about is the money. Bob Arum is dead serious when he says that, like when he was talking about Teofimo Lopez and Devin Haney, he was like, yeah, I'd love to have the Teofimo Lopez Devin Haney fight, but if he's asking for $5 million for the fight, he can forget about it. I'm not letting the fight happen because I'm not losing any money on Devin Haney. Same kind of thing that Leonard Ellerbe said about the Devin Haney Gervonta Davis fight, right? He doesn't lie about that money. So when his eyes got all greedy and he started smirking a little bit, talking about, yeah, but we need to make this a co-promotional deal between us and Top Rank so that we can split the profits, because the other side of the risk is splitting the profits, right? You take the risk, then you take the profit. And also that could also lead to a higher chance that Terence Crawford is going to be willing to fight, because he'll get the money that he wants, because Bob Arum and the PBC and Al Haymon will be throwing in on the fight. But all in all, man, I'm telling you, I'm very, very happy about it. I do not think that this is something that people should take lightly. I don't think that this is going to be a scenario like Floyd Mayweather Jr. and Manny Pacquiao, where we're waiting out another 5 years for it, because these guys really are at a head right now. Errol Spence Jr., I'm a huge Errol Spence Jr. fan. Everybody knows I have Errol Spence Jr. winning the fight against Terence Crawford. I'm, confident that he can win the fight against Terence Crawford. But at the same time, I do not think that Errol Spence Jr. wants to have a boxing career that lasts the next 10 years. He did have that car accident. He does have the retina. He did get the retina damage to his eyes. And he is has been saying that he's in boxing for a good time, not a long time. So I think that, that he needs to take that fight sooner than later, get his money while the getting is good, and get out of boxing with a Hall of Fame career. And Terence Crawford, honestly, who else is he going to fight? Where else is he going to go if Bob Arum is talking about fight-by-fight deals? Is he going to take the Errol Spence Jr. fight, or is he going to take a Josh Taylor fight over in Scotland? The answer to that is pretty obvious. But anyway, that is my take on the matter. You let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Deuces.